Good morning and welcome to today's episode of This Poor House. Today we're going to install a drainage ditch, a French ditch in the front yard where the water slopes down the front yard and doesn't drain properly around the house. You can see on the driveway there's a puddle that constantly stays here, and this ground is completely soaked. You can see how wet it is. So we're going to install two of these catch basins, one in the corner here to catch any moisture that's going to run off of the driveway, and we're going to install the second one further down towards the middle of the house, and the whole yard is sloped towards the front of the house. And this is going to be a part of the French drain that's going to be covered in gravel and some fabric, and it's going to catch the water that's going to run off from the whole yard, from the driveway, and we're going to send it down the pipe all the way to the corner and into the pipe that goes that catches gutter water. We're just going to add a YT here. We're going to dig a little bit, but we're going to leave the pipe exposed, and we're going to connect the French drain into here so it's all downhill, and it'll go downhill into the backyard. Come on, I'll show you where the drainage is. And the dirt that's going to come out is going to go, it's all going to go downhill here. And over here there's a pop-up drain that whenever the water level rises high enough in the pipe, the drain is going to come up and the water is going to come flow out of it and just flow downhill. The extra dirt that we're going to dig up out of the ditch is going to go around the patio concrete that was just poured so we can grade it and level it later. We're just going to fill it mostly with fill dirt, and then we're going to put a little bit of topsoil on top of that. Let's go see the tools we have. We're going to use a wheelbarrow to move the dirt over here. We're going to use the lawnmower with a buggy attached. And most importantly, so that we don't have to use the shovel, we'll have some mechanical advantage. This bad boy right here. Little mini excavator that should make our job a lot easier. I don't have the key. We need to start it. We'll go start it. So we'll see you in the front yard. So to go over a list of materials that we're going to need today, we have a couple of these catch basins. Lowe's sells 3/4 inch drainage rock. That's $30 for 1,000 pounds or 0.3 cubic yards. They don't have them. They have them on their website, but you have to ask for them, and they'll bring them to you on a forklift, put them in your car. They come in a super sack in a bag. We have the excavator. We've got the drainage pipe that comes from Lowe's. It's got nylon sock over it, and that's going to filter out the dirt. And the pipe itself has a lot of holes in it, so we'll have a couple of those corrugated pipes with the. We've got spray paint to mark exactly where we're going to work, the Y fitting that's going to connect to the drainage pipe, and some of this fabric that's going to line the ditch as a secondary filter for the dirt so that the holes don't get clogged. So the total is probably about $200 for this project, not including the excavator rental. So, and of course, don't forget safety first.
What do you have to tell us, Julia?
I'm just here to supervise.
Perfect.
Let's start
Behind the scenes.
So I think we're going to put one basin right here. And then I think we're not going to want to drill right next to the sidewalk, so we don't want it to erode, so we're going to run the pipe somewhere like right here. It's still low enough that it shouldn't matter. It's gonna be a big ditch. Gotta preheat the
coil.
Actually, I think it preheat itself. You turn it backwards to activate the glow plug for 5 seconds. And then when you pop the cord, it starts right up. She looked cold. Unlock the controls. We brought over the excavator and we started digging next to the driveway, carefully loading up the lawnmower buggy, and went pretty slow at first just because we were in the corner trying to fit the basin, and it was a little tight working there, and we probably overloaded the cart a little bit, and the tires on the cart were flat, so it got stuck in the mud in the backyard, so that's why the wheelbarrow appears. It was our plan B. We could have put some air back into the tires of the buggy, but unfortunately it chewed through the valve stem. So you'll see that later in the video. So we switched the wheelbarrow and it actually worked pretty well. We also brought a couple of tarps. That way, while somebody's taking the wheelbarrow to the backyard, you don't have to worry about stopping. You can just continue digging. And you can see you just kept putting scoops on tarps. It was a lot faster to drop soil onto the tarps because you didn't have to aim for the little wheelbarrow. You could just dump it wherever. And we knew that we were going to need a little bit of extra soil to backfill on top of the gravel when the ditch is full, so we were going to leave all that dirt there until the very end. So it turns out we didn't have a long level, so we had to make a makeshift level. We put a level on a 2x4 and taped it to the 2x4. And there you saw me turn around the tractor because the yard starts sloping away from the house a little bit, and as you're digging, it started kind of getting off balance, so you can use the blade that's on the excavator to keep you stable. So turning the machine around really helped. The problem is anytime you turn the machine around in the yard, you end up tearing up the yard even more because the tracks move a lot of material when you turn it around. here we started laying down the filter fabric, and it was from Lowe's, and it was really poor quality. It was really hard to work with because it's really thin, and anytime you slightly pull on it, it would just tear. So we finished the straight trench, and then it's going to go over to the corner. It's about a foot and a half deep right now, and we're going to try to slope the whole thing. We're going to put down the filter fabric, followed by a little bit of gravel, and then the pipe that has holes in it that's going to absorb the water. Most of the dirt's in the back. There's just a little bit of dirt that we're going to backfill with. You can see how deep the dirt is, and then the last little bit will go to the corner of the house. So we're almost done digging. So I think we'll see you when the gravel's in. The mini excavator came in very handy. We took about 2 hours to dig that entire trench. Just a little bit of digging done by hand, so it was completely irreplaceable. And here's the buggy that we ended up damaging the wheels on. Should have put some air into it as soon as we noticed that it was flat, but it probably wouldn't work anyways because it was overloaded. So now it's time to attach the hose to the box. It comes with these connectors that are seals, but you can cut out the seal for the pipe size that you'll need. So I've already cut out a 4-inch pipe, and then I slit the pipe about 6 inches down, so that way I can compress it, and then the seal slides over the pipe, and it doesn't need to go too far. You can just go to the first corrugation, and it just clicks into place, and you have a nice, really secure connection. So now on this side there's a nut ring that screws to hold the whole thing in place. So now we have a solid connection to the box. That's it. So here we're actually beginning to lay the pipe into the ditch and using our makeshift level to make sure it's sloped down towards the corner of the house. The fabric got a little bit of gravel on top, and we used the gravel to level out or slope the pipe correctly. And in between the two pipes, the pipes come in 25-foot sections, and in between the two pipes we were going to put another catch basin to just catch any runoff that drains in that direction when it rains real hard. So we took the time and connected everything and realized that the pipe kind of has to go uphill to enter the box because the entry on the box is about 6 inches above the bottom of the box. So because when the water drains into the basin, you're going to have sediment that comes into the box, and by having the inlet hole about 4 inches from the bottom, you give your sediment time to settle out before the water flows into the pipe, because the pipe has about 1/16 of an inch hole. So here we're evaluating whether or not this is a good spot for a basin, and we just decided that it's not necessary there, so we just joined the two pipes together, put a couple of screws in there to hold it all together, and finished placing the pipe in the ditch all the way through the corner, and just finishing the corner there now. Now that the pipe is in the ditch, we started putting a little bit of gravel. Two people kind of held up the fabric on either side, and then the third person had dumped the gravel out of the wheelbarrow into the ditch. And the gravel we bought came from Lowe's, and it was really hard to buy from them, and came in those sacks that they're about 1,000 pounds each, and it contains 0.33 cubic yards each, or 8 cubic feet, or about 16 bags if you were to buy the 50-pound bags that they sell individually. So that third of a cubic yard of it's called drainage rock at Lowe's. Actually, Home Depot doesn't sell it, but Lowe's has it. It's $30, and we ended up using 3 of them. We're almost done. The ditch is full of gravel. We went through 3 of these bags of gravel, drainage rock, and pretty full. Our ditch came out a little bit wider than we wanted. The pipe's only 4 inches, but the ditch is probably about a foot by about 1.5 feet deep, and probably a total of about 40 feet of ditch is what we ended up with. And it ended up going around the house and joining with the gutter pipe that will not be buried and going to the backyard. So all that's left to do is put up some filled dirt on top and plant some grass. And we'll be done. We'll see you in 6 months for a post-drain review. At this point, all that was left to do was to backfill the ditch on top of the gravel with the soil that we had left. And looked like we set the tarps a little bit too far away from the ditch. It would have been nice to have a little bit closer. And the biggest issue we ran into with this part is that we did not leave ourselves enough dirt. So we had to take the wheelbarrow to the backyard, load it up with the dirt that we took back there, and haul it all the way back uphill. After working for 8 hours, that was a very painful moment. It would have been it's a lot easier to haul that wheelbarrow downhill than it is to haul it full of wet dirt uphill. Yeah, but tarps came in handy. You can see didn't make too big of a mess. Tamped it down a little bit. All right, here we are 8 hours later. The pipe is in. The drain is in. The ditch is backfilled. We started about 10. It's now 5 o'clock, so we're almost done. It's going to take the next hour or so to clean up and see how this works. We left the soil in pretty rough shape. We're going to add a little bit of topsoil soon and then overseed it and get some grass to grow on it. But that's what it looks like now, and I'll show you. The gutter still drains into the pipe, but the French drain actually ends right around here, so hopefully it'll catch any more water that was near here. This area was really wet. Hopefully we'll stop any water getting into the crawl space, and certainly the main objective was to keep the front area dry. So I think it'll take at least a few weeks for the soil to drain into the French drain. It's still pretty wet over here where we worked with the excavator. You can see it's really, really soupy. So hopefully over time all that drains into our ditch and it's going to be nice and dry. This is the water running out with the hose going into the basin. So looks like it's working for now. We'll see how long it stays like that. I think the yard has suffered enough for one day. See you on the next episode of This Poor House.